like to just real brief kind of go over some features with Jamboard. It is, like I said, it is a pretty simple program, but if you know how to use the different tools in it, you can do a whole lot of activities with your class. So first, Jamboard. What is it? It's an interactive whiteboard, but wait, there is more. Okay. You can also use it for interactive tests. You can use it for checking for understanding. There's all kinds of things you can use it in your lessons. And so I'm gonna kind of show you a few examples of it. And then at the end, I'll be sure to share with you a shared link to the folder that has a lot of these Jamboards in it. So that way you can use them at your disposal. Well, Julie's put a lot into this, and I put a bunch of Jamboards in there. So we'll keep adding to it. So please use it wherever you can. If you have ideas or you want to share your ideas, please share them with EdTech support, and we're more than happy to put them in the folder for everyone. So first off, why Jamboard is because, one, it's easy. Two, it's already integrated with Google, and you can use it in Google Classroom. So you can, like I said, you can use it for tests, but you can also use it for just simple assignments for kids. And because you can collaborate, because it's through Google, you can create small group instruction where you can give them a Jamboard, and then those smaller groups can then work on it and then do a presentation on it. So it is, like I said, a whiteboard, doing individual and small group and large group instruction. You can use it as an interactive test. Like I said before, checking for understanding, and an interactive presentation. You can throw one of these up real quick if you're in the middle of class, and you can start using it right away. You don't have to prepare for it. So it's show you here. Now, there are 3 ways that you can get to Jamboard. You see here, you can either go to the waffle, and then up down here you can find Jamboard, or what you can do is you can actually go into your Google Drive. And if you go into a folder, you can click New, and then when you come down here to More, you're going to see Google Jamboard here. So you can start it there. So if you open up the folder you want it to be saved into, then you go to New and Jamboard, and then it will put it in there for you. So you can organize it. And I would recommend trying to organize your folders beforehand. It just makes it a little bit easier, especially with some of the features that Jamboard has and doesn't have. It's a good idea to create those folders, especially for obviously upper grade levels. If you create folders for each topic that you're covering and then organize them that way, it makes it a whole lot easier down the road. Okay. And then the other way you can get to it is up here, just like with docs and slides. You can just type in jamboard.google.com, and you'll automatically be taken to your dashboard for Jamboard. So, if we can, it's not. All right, so let's get started. The first one is, we use it in presentations, but what is the difference between Jamboard and PowerPoint? Obviously, the kids don't have PowerPoint on their Chromebooks, so it is a little bit more difficult to use. PowerPoint is the Rolls Royce of all kinds of presentation forms, has the bells and whistles, but for Jamboard, it's very simple. The kids can use it. Like I said before, you can get up and get going on it. So those are the easiest ways to think about it. Is Jamboard's very simple, and it already integrates with Google. You can share Jamboards with students and make it more interactive. PowerPoint, obviously you can't. And when you use the Jamboards, you can keep kids engaged, because if you share it with them, now they're interacting with it, and they're the ones that are kind of in charge of the learning in the classroom. So when you create the interactive boards, it's just a way to kind of spice up the lesson a little bit. All right, so looking at some of these, in the background, think I'm getting a little kickback with someone's microphone. But if you could just mute there so that way you don't hear that. Thank you. So with Jamboard, here's kind of the general layout of it. You have your main features up here, set the background, which I can show you here how to change those in a minute. You can create a background for it and then you can write on top of it. If you want to clear the frame, so that way, say you do a bunch of work in a class and you're writing through it, all these problems, you can clear off the Jamboard. So like for here, say I want this kind of pen and I want it in red, then I can circle things, can do a bunch of stuff to it. And then if I don't like it, I can always clear it off and start over. So that's the difference why you have a background you'd want to put. And then down here, you'll actually see that you can add images or GIFs you can also add. But if you use it as a background, when you clear the frame, it's only going to clear what's on top of the background. It's not going to clear the background. So that's the difference. If I were to come down here and add a picture and then put it on there and then hit clear frame, all the pictures would be gone. So it's a way to just make sure that you can keep writing on top of it if you do different examples. Kind of helps if you use the background feature. Down here is another feature. So if you, let's say you are writing on it, and then you say you don't like part of it, you don't want to erase everything, but you have the erase tool that you can erase the lines on. So say if you're doing a math problem and you accidentally draw a line too far, or you want to put it somewhere, the number somewhere else, you can just erase that one part instead of erasing the whole thing. And then what Jamboard is famous for are the sticky notes. So you can actually create sticky notes. And you can put these wherever you want. And if you like what you have on there, you can duplicate it or just simply delete it, because we're not going to use it here. Set backgrounds. These are the basic features that you have here. Blank, you have the dots. You can create lines. So if you're doing like having them write things out, you can set it up that way. Graphing paper, which I'll show you here in a minute. And then the different backgrounds. This is relatively new, probably in the last 6 months to a year that they are able to add images. So you can add your own image to the background as well. Here are shapes. Now, to show you real quick, you can see here. So if I put a circle here, it automatically fills it in, as you can see here. But let's say I don't want it that way, okay? You can make it transparent and then just have the circle for there. So you can move it around and circle different things as you go. And of course, you can change the colors. And you see here that there's not a whole lot of options as far as colors go. They want to keep it simple, so that way you can use it whenever and kind of pick up wherever you're left off. And again, delete it here or duplicate it. I think going to see someone, if you guys could mute, if you're not muted already, if you could mute your computer. Getting some conversation here. All right, the next one. So how would you use this in the classroom? Here are a couple examples. You can use it for warm-up questions. You can use it for digital posters. You can use it for tutorials. You can record yourself working through the problem. You can work it with Screencastify and record yourself using these and be able to save them. So that way they can, you can use them later, or for those students that were absent, they can go back and watch it. And again, let me just give a caveat to recording. As long as you're recording just the screen and what you're talking about, then that's fine. But we don't want to record any of the students. But you can create your own graphic organizers, and I'll show you, share with you a couple websites that have a lot of graphic organizers. You don't have to create everything from scratch. There's a lot of stuff already out there for you. So just be aware with that. Another cool one, especially with history or English, like if you're doing timeline formats, you can create your own interactive timeline. They can put pictures and they can create their own timeline on there and then add it and manipulate it how they want. And that's kind of another way to create a project for them. Organization, cause and effect. I'll show you some examples here in a second, but these are kind of some of the cool ways that you can use this in your lesson. Here's one, very simple. This took me probably not even a minute to put together. You can do pros and cons, and then the kids can come over here. If you share it with the students, you can share a Post-it note and you can type in whatever. Type in as many Post-it notes as you want, and they can keep putting them in there so kids can interact. Now the downside is if you do have this as a collaboration with students is it doesn't mark the kid's name on the sticky note. So you need to ask them to at least put their name next to their response. Otherwise you have it for a split second where you'll see the person, a little emblem in the top left corner, but for most part, you're not going to know who it is after they've already posted the note. So just a little FYI to keep you guys making sure that you can check to see what kids have done what. All right. Here's another example. If you're looking for sources and how to evaluate them, this is kind of a good little resource to help students. Like they can put their own little tabs in there. Again, you can share this with students and they can put them, what is bias? Okay, how can you determine what's biased and what's not? Things like that to kind of help them along. And again, since it's interactive, the kids are being engaged in it. Instead of just you telling them, you can have them interact. A caveat we learned yesterday too, and is that right now it looks like the max number of people that can collaborate on one Jamboard, and it looks like it's on other Google files, is up to 25, which means right now our class sizes are fairly small, but if we get up to those class sizes where there is 30 or 40, then we're gonna start having some issues with the kids. So just a little FYI. And then I'm gonna show you a way in Google Classroom that you can alleviate that problem. So it's not just one Jamboard and then having to share it out with everyone that way. Here's another one. Some of us have used this before. So we have 4 corners, simple checking for understanding. They can throw their name on a sticky note and throw it into the corner, and we can figure out where they are and kind of get an idea of what we might need to work on a little bit more. Here's another one. This is kind of for English, but you see they can do cause and effect. This was for the necklace, but you can create your own little timeline, your own setup of what the different phases of the story are. So you can be as creative as you want. Also, like on this, I took an excerpt from Romeo and Juliet, but you can take any excerpt from these, your stories, and then have them, they can click on the different pins, they can click on the different objects, things like that, and be able to highlight and the way you can set it up in Google Classroom is they can do their own thing on this, and then they turn it in that way. So you can have more of a creative way of checking to make sure that they understand what the plot is or what the key components are to it. Okay. Here's the one for history. This one obviously is World War I, World War II. But if you want to make your maps interactive, all I did was I found pictures of flags, and now we can, oops, let me get rid of that guy. You can click on this. See how we can move the flags around, and if we wanted to, we can add more flags, and then tell them how, there's Dunkirk, how the British moved in there. You can move all the flags around. You can add multiple ones, like here. Now we can move them all over the place where Soviet Union moved in. So you can make your maps more interactive for yourself and for your lessons. I didn't get too creative as far as you can even put a tank in there and have them running across and different kinds of things, how to make it interactive. You can even, thinking of it from an English standpoint too, is if you put the backgrounds as different scenes from your story, now you can have them create the characters and some of the dialogue. So you can make this into more of a kind of like a comic book format where you can set up the Jamboard slides and then they can interact that way. And then they can turn them into their class. Here's one for science. Now this one already has it in here, but if you found one, and I'm sure science teachers out there, you already have them. If you have one that doesn't have the words in it, you can have them add the text into the different cycles. So that way you can just have them, then you can see if they're understanding the process of the carbon cycle. You can have them add their own pictures. I mean, you can even just have them create their own Jamboard and then turn it in with the cycle and have them do their own pictures, their own backgrounds, things like that. Here's another one for science. This one, I already added the words to it. So if you did it, please don't against me, I'm just gonna put things in here. So I've already put the words in here. So if you can already set this up, which is cool, is if this was just the one slide for the Jamboard, you can save this way and then have the students, then you're gonna share it with them in Google Classroom. And now they get their own copy. And then when they turn it in, now it's already organized in your Google Classroom, which is kind of a cool little format. So, and I'll show you here shortly. There's another one, carbon molecule, they can add to it. You said you could add your own GIF there. It allows for pictures. As you can see here, when you click on the image, it allows for pictures, but does not allow for videos to be added to it. I've tried adding videos to it and it keeps blocking me. But if, let's say you're looking for a picture, you can always add it to it. And you can add the picture this way, or if you already have the pictures available, then you can just go into your Google Drive, or you can upload it right from your computer. Here's a math problem. So this is just a simple worksheet I found, nothing spectacular. Does everyone know? Now this does not allow for PDFs to be added to it. So I'm hoping if you don't know how to convert your PDF to a JPEG, I can put those in the notes. It's fairly simple to do. But I had to convert this PDF into this picture so that way I can add it as the background. And now, like I said earlier, if I wanted to write on it, and and this is my great handwriting. If you have, this brings up the point, is if you have a touch screen, you can use a stylus on here and it works a whole lot better. But if you don't, then obviously you're going to be using your mouse on this. And let's say that's not right, I can clear the format, and as you can see, it gets rid of my text box, but because that's not part of my background, and it gets rid of anything else. So it gets rid of everything except the background on it. Here, math, if you guys are doing anything with graphing math problems, you can set the background so it's already set to the graph. If you change it to lines, if you need them, do it on that format. And with this feature of adding a picture, it's endless what you can do as the background. So if you need different specialized pictures, find that picture online and then upload it as the image as the background. And now you're not limited to just these colors or just these lines on here. It's pretty much endless as far as what you can do with it. So just that one. And let me show you real quick. I'm going to go to Google Classroom and show you how it works. Once we get in there. But are there any questions while we're waiting for this to load? I want to make sure I answer the questions of you guys. I'm going to give you a kind of like a parking lot to have you guys write your ideas of what you think you'd use or have used with Jamboard. Kind of spread the word there. Any questions?
Quick question. You were talking about doing it with like a stylus. I remember they gave us those little pad things with a stylus. I never used it. I went and picked it up, but can I use that with Jamboard?
I would have to test it out to see, because it's not part of the computer. It should work if you were able to connect it to it and then write on top of your screen. Then it should work fine.
I've never tried it out. I was just curious about that.
Yeah, there's not a lot of people that have that device, but so I don't know if anyone else in here has used that. But
is there a way to be able to write on it with just? I've got a ThinkPad.
But you don't. It's not touchscreen.
No.
You just use your mouse with that.
Okay. Because I do it to do math problems, and writing with your mouse, writing numbers is not the easiest thing.
Yeah.
I have a question on that. Can you, like, you know how you had the worksheet as your background? Instead of writing with the mouse, can they write inside of a text box?
They can type inside of a text box.
Text box under the equation?
They can type into it.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just sometimes it's difficult to write out, because like you can type out the equation. There are text boxes in there. I use it for tutoring. So I do like a screenshot of Get More Math, and then I paste it on there, and then I write on top of it to show the kids how to do it or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, writing with the mouse sometimes just gets difficult.
Especially with math, you got to be pretty precise of where you're at, especially on graphing.
I like to be nice and neat, so it's difficult.
Yeah, that's going to be a challenge if you don't have the touch screen.
That's right. It totally works though. It's a great tool for doing tutoring.
And this is another one that I failed to mention, but you also have this laser tool. So if you're trying to get them to look at something specific, so like here, you want to talk about this, it automatically goes away, but you can direct them to this and you can keep talking that way. So you don't have to write on it necessarily. So that's kind of a cool feature for when you're interacting with the pictures and images. So,
can I make a comment about that? I found that there was quite a delay from what I was using it once, and my student was my laser pointer was slower than my voice.
Yeah, we're all slaves to the speed of the internet right now. I don't know how fast you guys are seeing it from my point of view, but it's I guess it depends on each one's internet speed for that. But any other questions before I move on? Good. All right. Feel free to ask any questions.
One more quick question. So, because like if I'm using it to like present it to the class or whatever, do they just still see the whole screen?
Yes.
There's no way to like present it like a slideshow?
No, it's not like PowerPoint where I can make it full screen.
Okay. And then is there a way to like import a Google slideshow into Jamboard so you can write on every single slide?
No. See, Jamboard's pretty basic. I even looked at as of right now, I know what teachers have already asked, there is no way to insert Jamboards into other Jamboards unless you save it as a picture.
Okay.
So if it's just a template, then I can show you, I can actually show you in a minute how you save it as an image. Let me just go there. Here, and when you go up here, you can download as a PDF or save frame as image. Okay. And then if this is your template without the words on it, download it as the image, and now you can upload it as the background for your Jamboard into something else. But up here, I've tried it, open on a Jamboard. This
what is that?
This doesn't do anything. So I don't know if it's being blocked by firewall, but I haven't noticed.
What is a Jamboard?
I'm sorry?
Well, I'm just wondering because it says open on a Jamboard, but
Yeah.
like, is that a physical thing that you draw?
Yes.
I mean, what is that?
It might be open on something on like an iPad.
It is actually a big physical whiteboard that you would have in your space that you can write on. So
Oh,
besides the program, they actually have a product that is an actual Jamboard.
Yep.
gotcha. That would be helpful.
That would be helpful. Add that.
Sorry.
So let's say for here, so if you create your own Jamboard, you just make one slide. It's as simple as the other assignments. When you go to create assignment, you're going to add it from your Google Drive. And let's say it is, once this comes up. So here's the Jamboard. I can add that Jamboard and then change it to make a copy for each student. Now you don't have to worry about maxing out of total kids collaborating on it. It is going to go to every single student. And what's cool about doing it this way is that once you've done it this way, now it's going to save it in your Google Classroom and organize it for you. If you were just to give your whole class one Jamboard, now you'll have to go in through each individual one. And you can collaborate with them, but you can also collaborate with them through here too, just like you do with Google Docs. When you open up, while they're working on it, you can open it up and then you can give them feedback on it as well. So this is just another way to share your Jamboard with everyone without worrying about going over the limit. I think Kristen looked up yesterday. Some say it's 25 is the max for collaboration, and some people are saying that it's less than 16 kids that it's starting to mess up on. So just be aware that there is, as of right now, there is a limitation to the number of people that can collaborate on a Jamboard.
Adam, if you do it this way, where you make a copy for each student, then does it show all of the students' collaborations, or is it just an individual?
They're individual ones. And you'll look through it through your, you know how you do it once you assign it and the kids already open it up, then you can look and see what they've done that way. And you would grade it through Google Classroom.
But they wouldn't see each other's work on it.
No,
They would just see their own. Okay,
they would just see their own.
thank you.
So Adam, I have a question on that. So like, when you do the Jamboard and you're going to collaborate with the whole class and you share it and you make them an editor and then you give them the link.
Yeah.
So I always put the link in the stream and then they just click the link and join in. Well, if you do it this way, how do they access the Jamboard? Does it sort of circumvent the whole idea of having a link?
Well, yeah, because this is technically the link. When they click on it, they're going to open up their own one. But as far as, it kind of sounded like you're talking about them working all on it as one, or are you talking about individually?
No, the only way I've ever done this before is if we're collaborating on it as a whole class.
Okay.
So, right, so they would all get the same link, and so they're all editors. But I'm looking at this is awesome, and so I'm thinking if I do it this way, this is how you're saying it can be like an interactive test, then, right?
Yep. You can, like I said, if you made this slide with all the words back over here, you can just share this slide and say, here's your test on an animal cell. You guys put them in the right order, and then they'll turn it in as a Jamboard. You'll open up and you can grade it that way. So if I were to go up here and share it, just be aware, you want to make sure that your sharing is set to the, so that way other kids can see it. Also be aware, because you have the teacher account, you can share this with parents if you want to do something interactive with the parents. Just make sure if you want to give them the slideshow or whatever that you make it so that way anyone with the link can access it.
Anyone with the link. Okay,
and
cool.
Just so you know too, is with it, when it comes to sharing, one of the cool features is you can turn on and off the sharing. So, some kids may take advantage of the fact that they're going to be able to access and do whatever they want to the slide. If you're doing this as a group, then you can go in and turn the sharing on for everyone, send the link out, keep it on while they're working on it. And then when you stop, you can actually just turn the permissions off, and then no one else can access it then. So it's not like you have to keep sending out a new link when you want them to edit it and when you want them not to edit it. It's pretty straightforward as far as shutting them off and turning them back on. So
Okay, cool, 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 cool.
So that's as far as how you can add the assignment into Google Classroom. A couple other ones that we can share with you. Here's some tips and tricks and thoughts. So Control D is when you highlight whatever picture you want. So it's this one. Control D makes multiple copies of it for you, and you delete it. Now, as you can see, one of the features that is not here, that is in like PowerPoint, is obviously all the stuff is on the screen. You can't like phase them in and out like a PowerPoint slide or Google Slides. So this is where it comes down to your guys' expertise in when can you use this for testing, when can you use this for a presentation or explanation, and when would you use Google Slides for it. That's kind of where it just comes down to what you prefer. But this is kind of Google Slides is cool, but obviously the interactive features of it, it can be a little much. So it just comes down to your flavor. Just like most technology, there's 50 ways to do something. What's the way you like the most? And you can do it that way. So, yeah.
Real quick, you can't change the orientation, can you?
What do you mean, like?
Where that it's portrait instead of landscape?
Oh, that one? No, this is strictly.
Yeah, the whole slide. Because if I have, like, the kids do their homework sometimes, like I put it in a Google slide and make that the background, and then they use text boxes to write on it. But if I could put it in here in a vertical, you know, like an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, it'd be way easier for them to write on it.
Yeah, no, there's no options in here to change the format of it.
Okay.
But that could be something, I know, and this is kind of cool too, is you can take these and like I said, you can make these your own image. So if you want to make your own graphs or anything like that, you can even, I don't know how difficult, I don't know what kind of form you're thinking of, but
it's like a homework sheet. So it's like, and there's a lot of like writing and stuff on it. So it would be, to make it that small, to squish it like you did on that one,
yeah,
it wouldn't work that way because there's too much writing on it. It would make it way too small.
Another option you can do is, if you want, you can take that document, and again, it depends on how much work it entails, but you can snip different parts of it, and then you can reframe it so that way it's in this kind of format for them.
Okay.
And you can add boxes to it, but again, it depends on how much, I don't know how many questions you're thinking of, all that stuff, but if there's like, this has 10, this would probably take me a couple minutes to do like a snippet tool and be able to put these spread out over a Jamboard, and then the kids can interact with it that way. But
when you do the image as a background, you can adjust, you can adjust the size and all that stuff of how it's going to look in the background, or does it just dump it in there?
it just dumps it in there.
Okay, so
I can go to the math one, and you can, right here. So set background, we're going to pick an image. Let's just, I don't know.
because if I could size it in the background, you know what I mean? I could get it to cut off at one particular question and then put it in the next slide and like slide it up so that the rest of the questions are on the next slide.
Yeah, if you use, it just depends on this image, because this one, obviously this kind is going to do just like what that math image did. But if you have a wider version like this, then it will expand it out. But you see that it fits it in there. It will not like zoom in, on some programs where it'll zoom it in until it fills the whole screen up. It doesn't do that.
Okay.
And then I'll stay back there.
So basically, Adam, we have to open up, or we could convert them, or we could just like open them up in Microsoft, take an image of it, screenshot, open it up in Paint, zoom in, snip it, and just put it in as one big giant question. It'd probably be better.
Yep.
Yep.
So like the image that I had for the math problem, this one, you can, if you have it on your screen, you can just keep editing it and crop it, each problem, because it doesn't have the math feature like being able to create intricate math problems on here. So you're going to have to create it somewhere else and create an image for it and then add it over here.
So basically, you almost have to make a template. Like if you wanted them to show their work,
Yep.
you're going to have to make a template like in Paint that puts it on the top of the screen so that it leaves the bottom of the screen open. So when they show their work, you can see it.
Or if you don't want to create it as just a background, you can just put the image on the front and leave it that way, and then they can move it around if you want to. So you basically create a bunch of images.
Okay.
But just remember, with images, when you clear your frame, it's going to wipe everything out.
That's why I'd rather just make 10 different questions in a template that I just use over and over.
Yep. My feeling is if you're going to use this multiple times, taking the few minutes to convert into the way you like is worth it. If it's something you're going to do really quick, go through it, and you're not going to use it ever again, then just throw the picture up and write on it that way. So.
Another question. Is there a dimensions of the size of this slide? For example, because I'd want to take my homework sheet, I could open it in Photoshop and like chop it and make it the right size so that when I dump it in there, it's the right size to fit in there.
You
know
can,
what the size?
I could probably look it up, but you can, I would test it. I'm sure someone's already got the dimensions for it online. So you can keep it relatively the same. As you can see here, I mean, it keeps everything in it. It just fits it the best it can.
Okay.
So we're at it. Another cool kind of tip or trick is think about if you're going to make multiple slides, try to create whatever's going to show up on every slide, put those on first and then duplicate the slides and then go back and add all the other stuff. It'll save you a lot of time because you're not constantly adding the next picture in there. It'll speed it up quite a bit for these slides.
How do you delete a slide? I was having trouble figuring out how to get rid of one.
Here's here.
Ah. Duplicate. Awesome.
And duplicate. And then obviously here is if you want to add one in here, you don't have to add another slide at the end and then drag it around. But you can drag these around if you don't like the format of it.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
So it does not matter which way you go. As of right now, there is no voice typing for it. I would either, a workaround obviously is if you open up a doc, they can use their speech to text and then copy and paste it into here if they need to. Kind of a feature for our English learners. Again, I said every computer has the snippet tool, so you can use that if you just want to use parts and pieces of it. Pretty much.
Adam, I'm sorry. Can you go back and I totally missed that click that you just did to bring that drop down bar at the top with all
right
the
here.
slides? Okay.
So you see the image, click on it once. And then all your slides come up here. And now you can either add a slide in between here, you can add them at the end, wherever you want. And if you click on the three dots, you can duplicate or delete it.
Thanks.
No. So before we get to that, I want to show you a couple other ones. Here's a really easy one. They can put their, if they understand something, if it's cool or whatever, it's a form of checking for understanding. Here, they call it the graffiti wall, but you can also use it for like a parking lot. We all know what a parking lot is, so I don't need to go into that, but you can use this on anything, on PDs, anything like that. You can have them add a little post-it note to it. Here's another fun one. If you're using like characters in history or characters in a play or a story, you could do this. Have them fill out guess who. And this is in the shared folder I'll give you here in a minute. So you do not have to make this all from scratch. Here's another one I found. Shields and proportions. Again, if you have a PDF of questions or a chart, something you like, you can convert that into a JPEG and then use that as the background. So like I said, it is endless what you can do with the backgrounds on this. Okay. Here's one for algebra. Now, while we're working, I'm going to share this with you because I wanted to see kind of what are you guys. I'm going to put this in the chat. So if you guys can add what you feel like, there's a link to that. Let me know what you guys put your ideas down. What have you used it for? What would you use it for if you can? Things that are coming up while we continue through here, but it's a cool little, this is a cool little tool that, like I said, it's simple to use. So we can just get going on it. It's not like PowerPoint where we have 20 or 30 things just to add text.
I think you gave us view only, Adam.
Do we? Let me change. I thought I changed it already to, yeah.
There you go.
Did you email it or put it in the chat?
I put it in the chat.
I don't see mine in the chat.
Let's.
Because he sent it to me privately.
Oh, hold on. Let me.
Okay, I was like,
I'm his backup guy. I'm his backup guy. He don't know it. I'm the guy
Mark's
behind
always
the guy.
trying to get the head on that. All right. There you go. There's everyone.
Oh, there we go. Thank you.
There we go. So here are a couple other, I know we are down to about 10 minutes. I wanted to share with you a couple other spots. Like I said, there's other resources out there. Here's a couple. If you know what SlidesGo is, it's another cool website where you can get lots of charts, things for education. There's also Slides Mania, which is a really cool website. A lot of this stuff is free, so just sign up for the free account and you can pick and choose their organizational charts. There's tons of stuff, not just for education in there. So I think what you could use. Ditch That Textbook is another website that has stuff, but they have one for Jamboard templates. Do we have a lot of people that use Canva for images? I don't know if we do that. Canva for life. Right on.
Brooke, can I just ask a really quick question? So
Yep.
when you shared this with us, you made us all editors. Is that what you did?
Yep.
Okay, got it.
It's as easy as I can give it and take it away just like that. So yeah, Canva is another great resource for you guys for images. I recommend sign up for the free account, use all the stuff in there. Another cool one, as you can see from my slides, you know the texts are pretty boring and straightforward. If you want to spice it up a little bit, cooltext.com is a free website. You can do all kinds of you can do like your text flaming. You can do all kinds of stuff with it. So it's a really cool free website for everyone to use. So I recommend looking at these and seeing what you can use. Again, I don't want to bombard you with tons of different things that, I mean, we already have a ton of stuff going on right now. But I do think that some features in here can really benefit us and can make things a little bit easier. You can use this, you can use this obviously in Google Meet and in Zoom. Zoom has the whiteboard feature, but looking at the whiteboard feature in Zoom, you don't have all the stuff that you can do here. So it's a little bit more basic in Zoom, but I mean, this is a cool feature for everyone that can use it. Like I said, there's not a lot of bells and whistles here, but the bells and whistles that are here, you can manipulate those into doing all kinds of stuff for you. So it is very easy to use. I want to ask if there are any other questions or concerns or thoughts while we go through here.
Sorry if I missed this, but if you're doing interactive and you want to turn off student permission to edit, contribute?
Yep. You go back up here, and now when you go here, you can actually change it. You can turn it off from people.
Okay.
Restricted.
Okay, thank you.
And as you can see here, you can see the little letter. That's all you really see now here. You can see people up here putting theirs. Now, here is one thing I started showing you guys in Google Classroom. That's kind of a cool feature is when you create, let's say you want to do small group instruction. Some people I think know how to do it, but just so that it's out there, is when you assign your Jamboard, or you assign whatever you want, you can just assign it to specific groups of kids. So if you want 5 kids to work on the same document, you can assign it and then just pick those 5 kids under the drop down over here. There's not too many kids here, but you can assign it just to the few kids that are there. So that way, now you have small group instruction for it, and you can manipulate it for each group too. So it's kind of a cool thing. Let's go back here and see.
Just real quick, because I think I tried to do that to where each group would have a copy of the document, right, to where that they could edit it.
Mhm.
But I ended up giving it so that, and the entire class was able to write on it. Like, what did I do wrong?
You probably, when you went up here, when you selected students,
Yeah.
you probably had all students checked. But if you were to just check one, or check the kids that wanted it. Now the downside to this is you have to create an assignment. So let's say you have 5 groups in your class. You have to create an assignment for each one of those groups. You can't do like this one Jamboard, give it to this student, create another document, just give it to that one. It's the whole assignment that goes to those kids. So I would save this assignment for the first 5 kids. Then you have a template, so it's not that difficult. But then you're going to go back in, create another assignment for that.
Real quick though, so if I make it so that the students can edit it, because I want each group to work on the page, don't I have to make a separate copy for each group or something? Because I think, because I did that where I made an assignment for all the different kids, but then I gave them a thing that said, okay, you know, they can edit this. So even though it was a separate assignment for each class, because they all used the original document that I had, they all ended up writing on it.
Then you would do this. You would change this feature to students can edit. So you would, let's say this is you have Jamboard, you have a Google Doc, doesn't matter. You would assign it students can edit file, and then you would select the kids that are for that group. Now they would all be editing the same document.
Okay, so if I use the same file though, that same Jamboard, if I create a new assignment, use the same Jamboard and put students can edit file and add a new set of kids, that new set of kids will not, they won't all see, like group 1 and group 2 won't be writing on the same thing?
They shouldn't be, but now,
because I think that's because I tried to do this with like a group thing, but they were still all able to write on the same original document, even though the assignment was for these 5 kids, and then I made the same assignment with students can edit file for these 5 kids. But when I did it, they were all still writing on the same document.
Yeah, that does make sense, because I've had teachers where they'd give out the assignment and make it students can edit file. They're editing the original. So yes, you would have to make a copy of it for each group.
So making a separate copy. Okay, got it. So it's the same one. I'm just making copies, like, and I could call it like group 1, group 2, group 3, and then assign. Okay, got it. Got it.
You know what? I just did that today, and for some reason, Adam, like group 1 was perfect and no one touched it. And when I went to group 2, all of a sudden they typed and everything showed up there in Google Slides. So it was really weird. And then then group 1's disappeared. It was just like, and I made copies and separate them and everything. I think it's just technology, man, technology.
I know Google, we've been having some issues with Google. They've done some kind of updates. Some features we're still trying to figure out what's going on, but okay. All right, let me bring it back. So we got quizzes, brainstorming ideas, checks in with students, show math work, good ideas. Let me put up, because we are getting down to 3 minutes left. So I want to put up the link. Kristen, tell me if I think I got that. This is the PD form. I know most of you guys are thinking that your payment, learning all this is your payment enough, but they are looking at paying you. So make sure there's the form. Kristen's created, but are there any other questions? I always want to hear like how you guys are doing this stuff. And I mean, there's so many creative ways to do this between history and science.
Hey Adam, I just have one quick comment about the hours. I did put the link to the Google form. It's in your chat box. Please make sure you get those hours turned in January. We'll be processing all the hours turned in January that you'll see on your February paycheck. If you wait and turn it in February, you won't see it till your March paycheck. So make sure you get those hours in before, I think Monday's the 1st. So make sure you get the form filled out by Sunday, or it's going to be all the way till March till you see it on your check. And I don't want any of you to have to wait that long. So just make sure you get that filled out right away.
A quick tip for you guys. I know we're running out of time, but when you share a Jamboard, you see how I have to type in every person's name? Think about how you're going to do this with all your students if you're going to be sharing it with them. What I would recommend is go into your contacts in Google. If you don't know how to do this, shoot me an email. I can send it to you. We're out of time, but create a contact group of your class. And now when you come in here, you can type in that group and everyone will get it. So it's not like you have to type everyone's name in again. Just type in one thing and it'll pop up. Send it to everyone in that group. And now you can change the sharings on them as well. So just a little quick tip for you guys, because I know 12 kids isn't too bad, but when you're going to get up to like 40 kids, typing every kid's name in there is going to be extremely difficult, especially if you want to share it and get rid of it. So
Adam, we send you an email to send us some information on that?
On creating a contact group? Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Now we are at 4:30, so if you have questions, please feel free.
Sam?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll stay on forever if there's questions, but said it's 4:30. I want to respect your guys' time, so I appreciate all that you guys doing, and we're always here to help. So
thank you, Julie Bergman. I like some of these Jamboards. I've already downloaded them as images. Thank you.
That's right. Thanks for reminding me. I need to share with that. I have, let me give you guys the link to the shared Jamboards.
I put it in there, Adam. I put it in the chat.
Okay, so it's your folder. I think I got more in there. I guess I could put it all into that folder.
Perfect.
We'll move all those in there. So there's ones for elementary and then for upper grade levels. So, but other than that, thank you guys very much, and reach out to us anytime if you have questions at EdTech Support, and we're more than happy to help you.
All right, thank you.
All right, you guys have a great day.
Bye, thank you.
And I will stop recording here.